This video is on how to do real elephant tusk on floor stands. You can also use this for artificial. This is a lengthy video and I do ramble on, so I apologize for that. And the picture taking ain't the best. So just have some patience, but it's very informative and it's well worth your while. If you would like to see other videos on hard to find items, this studio usually does everything. So you can comment down below and I will answer them, or go to my website, which is globalwildlifeartistry.net, and contact me through that. So I hope this is good for you guys. Enjoy. So here's the ivory. Serial numbers are right there where no one sees. So they're hollow up to a point. I am going to put these in with all thread. This is 1/2 inch all thread, and as you can tell, it's bent. So its top is going to hold it so it doesn't spin as I tighten the bolts. And this is about 24 inches long. It can vary, just depends on how deep the root was in the tusk. So what you're going to do is you're going to put this in, and I have 2 holes drilled in my base. So I put this as one of the holes, so the all thread's going to go into that, and then that way I can get the angle I want on these ivory. So I also marked down here. This will be cut either with the Sawzall, hacksaw blade, or tin snips. We'll see, because it's just real frayed, it's real papery stuff. Nobody wants that anyway. So I've already done this on those holes, and as you can tell, there's 2 pencil marks. So this is where this goes. This is the angle this tusk is going to be sitting at. So it's going to be sitting kind of up with a little bit of curve. Once I trim this, I will put a piece of 3/4 inch plywood into this, which goes into there. This nut and washer is going to go up until it's super snug against this, and this will go right about like so. And that'll also hold it while the Bondo is drying. I only do a little bit of Bondo at a time. I don't want a lot of heat. A lot of heat will make this crack, and we sure as hell don't want that. If it does crack, you're just going to have to put a brass little band right across certain spots, and that'll hold it pretty good. So this is what they all look like. This one's different. It just had a little different angle. That's the longer tusk. This one, as you can tell, is a little broke. Again, these are super nice critters, but they're so heavy because they're slippery. Everything here ain't bad on the gum line, but once you get up here, it's polished. And that's Mother Nature doing that. Man did not do that yet. And you can always tell artificial tusk from real tusk. Artificial tusk, they always paint what was inside the head. So this is what's inside the head, and this is the lip line right here. This was all inside. So when they do artificials, and you try to tell on them, but they know everything. What do I know? They always put the brown all the way down, which is, no, that ain't the way a real tusk is. And then if you do artificial, you're going to do them the exact same way as I'm showing you right now. It's quite easy. You just got to put all that color back in, which is only 2 different colors, a stain. Acrylic paint is what I use, but you got to put all those little lines in, those little tiny cracks, and that's what makes it. Well, they're just amazing, amazing animal. And the sports hunters is what's saving this. It ain't the poachers, that's for sure. Or the people whining and complaining. Their money ain't going to do nothing, but they just like to do that, I guess. So I'm going to put this up, and I will show you the angle it's going to go on, and then we'll go on to another part. Okay. Here's another part of this. This is what the base looks like now, with the all thread in there. I have not bundled nothing together. I just made a piece of wood. It doesn't matter what type of piece of wood. This is a piece of scrap walnut, 3/4 inch plywood, and this is oak 3/4 inch plywood. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to drill holes, little tiny holes in here, and then put little brass tacks in there, or maybe just regular finish nails. No one's ever going to see it. But then countersink it so it fits flush. And then once it's flush, it's good because what's going on here is elephant leather. The client does not want brass, which I really like, and it hides everything. It's perfect for that. But yeah, and I lied to you before, do not use a Sawzall to cut this off. Here's the pieces I cut off. You know, so I use that. Real old-time hacksaw. Anything else, you'll break it. You can use the tin snips for right in the very front. You take off the very, very fine stuff, but the thicker stuff, and you can tell it's pretty thick in the back where it's paper thin up front. So now what I'm going to do is just take that piece of wood back out, just like so. The nut is up there. And so the washer's going to go right here, just like so. And the plywood goes back onto where it was. And then this is actually going to hold while the Bondo sets. And I'm also going to put it back onto this piece of wood here, sitting straight up, one at a time this time though. And that way I know it's forward perfect and sideways perfect. Like I said, there it is up in there. And we're just going to Bondo it. Piece by piece by piece. And I am going to put some fiberglass mat in there. Pieces of it. Just so it'll keep strong. And I will go from there, and once everything's set and before it's enclosed, I will show you again. And we are out. So here it is. We just Bondoed first coat of Bondo in the all thread. There's the mat and some cloth and the Bondo, of course. And so now this will go here and lift up. Here's the other one, the way it sits before Bondo sets in. So I will put this on. The washer has to come up. And then I will be back. So the way I do this is I put the Bondo in with the mat, and then I put this board on in there, and that'll hold this in place. So there's the first coat there, and she's pretty strong. So now the second coat will go up. And you want to let this cure for minimum 40 minutes. So you don't want a whole heck of a lot of heat. More Bondo in there, more heat. So there's the other one. And this will have to get shortened down a little bit, just because it's just a little too long for the walnut bases I made for it. Yeah, that's it. You can Bondo it one more time, and then mix some resin and Bondo together to make a soup. Don't make it too hot with too much hardener, and then just pour in there, and if there's any creases, it'll go down in there and strengthen it a little bit more. And if you want, you could always put urethane foam after the resin. Just fill this hollow cavity, because we're not going all the way to that first washer there, nut. There's the nut. But if you use urethane foam, you got to use the same stuff you use for rocks, which is 8-pound minimum. And not very much, just because it will expand. And then that thing will be rock hard. And then you put the piece of wood back on. And on this one, I had to put a wedge. So the wedge is going to go on here, just because this was up a little bit higher than I wanted it to be. So it'll go on like so. And then, like I said, leather's going on it. And I got a couple pivot holes right here and here already drilled to hold this in on the very first application with the Bondo, so it doesn't go anywhere. And that'll be it. I will continue this once I fill it up a little bit more. So now I'm just going to pour in some Bondo soup, resin and Bondo mixed together. I threw some mats in there on top of the second application, and this will just make things super smooth. And then I'm going to let this sit for about 6 hours. And then I'll probably pour some foam in it tomorrow. So that's what they look like. Next step is that I poured the foam, which is 8-pound foam that I use for making rocks, on top of the resin Bondo mix. And I've already sealed this one, put the wood on top, and I just put some Bondo around there to hold this edge and make sure it doesn't ever spray. Plus it locks this in. Then I tighten this down, and some of this is going to be cut just because my bases are going to have to be filled with sand, concrete, or something just to get some weight, because these are very top heavy. What it does is you're just going to put in this piece of wood. It's going to slap right in here, and you're going to lock it in. Before I do that, which I've already done, is adjust this bottom nut to make sure everything lines up perfect. And then this goes in on top, and then this will get tightened down with the washer on top, of course. And then it'll get Bondoed up just like this one. And then it goes from here to the base. I won't put the metal, or on this case, elephant leather around it until it's on the base. So once I get it up on the base, I will let you know. Just finished the base on this. We put the wood in, we tightened the nut down, we put Bondo around it, let it set, and then sanded it so it's nice and flush. I cut the length of the all thread, the desired length, put a nut on the end, and then I put duct tape on there. The duct tape's just to protect the finish on my base. The base I have is a solid walnut base. I already put it on, and I marked it. It's wood bored down for the nut that's going to go on, so it's a flush finish. I have one hole in the front for a button, and a screw will go through that just to lock it in. This is only fits one way. So it goes in, this cavity is hollow, which will be filled with concrete or sand or anything to give it weight so it doesn't topple over every time you walk by. And it only locks in one direction. We'll see how it fits there now. Okay, next video. We now have the elephant leather wrapped around the base. This is 6.5 inches from here to here. Then I put a little piece of brass around the top, just because you can. I just now put the leather on the base. It has a seam in the back. I might put something here. I'll have to look things over. Put a piece of brass around the top. You drill 2 holes for the little nails that go in the brass. And this also has 3 gray nails into the back. For the leather, it's elephant leather, but I use this as a template. Any type of cloth, just wrap that around there. That way you're not messing leather up, since it's so very expensive. And then once it's on there, you trim it. And one is usually good for the other one. It's just very little bit of trimming. That's the way it looks. I had to put a little wedge in the bottom just to give it that angle. And then I put Bondo around there just for strength. And that's just about it. It's time-wise, from start to finish, I think you got about 5 hours. The Bondo resin, I poured that on top of all the Bondo on the all thread, and I let that set overnight. Everything else was done, 30 minutes max top drying. You can go ahead and polish the rest of the ivory up. Here's the one finished piece right there. So that's top to finish right there. There's going to be a button that goes in the front. A screw goes under that, and then the button goes on top. So nobody's going to be able to take this off and fall on them and get hurt. I will show you what everything looks like when everything's completed. But there it is. If you have any questions, you can go to my website, www.globalwildlifeartistry.net. Go to the contact page, email me. I'm pretty good at telling you what to do, where to get stuff, etc. So, if you do like it, like it. I'm gonna try to do more videos. As you name it, it's in this shop. North America, South America, Asia, South Pacific, and a lot of Africa. 46 years of doing this, yeah. Okay, I'll show you the finished in a bit. This is how I secure it to the base. It's hooked on with thread, and a little plastic thing just to protect people. And then there's 3 torque heads that go in right like that into the wood, and it's secured, and that's all there is to that. Here's the final project right there. Solid walnut bases, beautiful ivory, elephant leather. If you need to contact me, go through my website at globalwildlifeartistry.net, and I'll try to answer any questions. If you like the video, just let me know. These things are gorgeous. And actually, this is a dying art. Not very many people do ivory anymore. Sad. They're legally taken. More power to you. And remember, if there's no serial number on any of those tusks, yeah, it ain't real. But this is how you can do artificial too. You just got to know how to color them. All right, that's the end of this series. Enjoy!